call you all, do you hear me? I'm going to call you all ambassadors or advocates. Because after you leave here as guests, I hope you'll tell some neighbor, some in-law, some stranger, some associate, that there is a place with a lot of activity that they can get involved with called Health Advocates for Older People. And particularly the younger generation who all have somebody they're caring for. And you can see I have a nice son-in-law that cares for me with his wife. Particularly the generation that has to take care of the 70 and 80-year-old people. Do tell the person who you care for that the more active they are, the more they exercise, the more they go to lectures and talks and go out to museums, in a group, feeling new friends, the less work the younger generation is going to have taking care of them and looking after them. So please be ambassadors for the advocates, health advocates for the older people. How many of us are not born New Yorkers, but become New Yorkers? I would imagine the majority of people in this room were not born New Yorkers, but it's certainly a nice and easy thing to say that I'm a New Yorker. I'm so glad we moved with our wonderful young family from a suburban green garden and brook in Staten Island to a sunny Manhattan penthouse roof garden on Central Park. All because we decided that to give our 5 children a bilingual education at the Lycée Français de New York. How many international friends and students and how many wonderful trips to Europe came our way as a result of that decision to come and be in New York. On a personal note, a great variety of opportunities is available to anybody here in New York, and lots of volunteering is certainly fun to add to your life. I headed a Girl Scout troop at Temple Emmanuel. I lectured at New York's very old Historical Society. I've been volunteering with the United Nations Hospitality Committee and with the charitable projects around the world with the United Nations Women's Guild. That's where I have most of my oldest and best friends, at the Women's Guild of the United Nations. Thus, I've tried to make our city more friendly and manageable for these people who are guests, who are far away from their own home and from their own customs. And that's one of the privileges of being in New York, is to meet people who are recent guests or employed here and make them feel more comfortable. I like to remember what Ben Franklin said. Tell me, and I'll forget. Teach me, and I'll remember. Involve me, and I'll learn. Well, we do learn. And yet, very subtly, as one lives longer and longer, one unconsciously reaches a new stage of life. Dear friends, often a spouse, pass away or go out of our lives. Children move away. Full-time jobs end. Immobility creeps up. Disability can frustrate our loved ones. In my case, one of my sons struggled with mental illness, joblessness, and homelessness. I was grateful to the care and the support that was given to him by the private and famous club, of which there are 320, Fountain House. And if none of you have ever been to any activity at Fountain House, which is a most handsome clubhouse with beautiful furnishings, with a restaurant, with a bar, not a bar, with a hamburger bar, with opportunities to work on horticulture, for opportunities to get part-time work, and for opportunities to finish your schooling or graduate work. So I've become involved at Fountain House on West 47th Street, and also with a residence on 46th Street called Project Renewal. And believe me, we don't have enough residences for people with psychiatric problems. So with our deficit in all around us, I think the mentally ill are probably going to be suffering as much as anybody else. Now to how I got involved with health advocates. Suddenly, one day, Nancy Coden at Heavenly Rest Church kept saying to me, "You ought to try ballroom dancing. It's great for your exercise, and it's good for your brain cells." I got romantic. I thought, oh, Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey, Eddie Duchin, all those music tapes that I hear at exercise classes, if I danced to them, even if it was with other women, it would be really better than not. Wow, formal dancing. How many lovely evenings I'd spent from dancing from school days through debutante parties to college balls. And afterwards, boy, that was delightful, that was exhilarating. And I must say, doing ballroom dancing at Health Advocates on a Friday afternoon was really fun. I highly recommend it. So I joined the ballroom dancing class, and little by little, with my son that I tried to get to come along, we started going to some of the lectures and to the museum trips. So I got more and more involved, and I found a new role in my life when they happened to need a bridge teacher. And I said, okay, I'll try that too. It has been so satisfying, because I like being a teacher, and I was a teacher, to help women in their 80s or over to learn to hold cards. They can't even hold them in their hand and have never played pinochle, but they're bright and they learn fast. And those people who know a little bit more about bridge and can play by themselves ask me to come over and to their table and say, what should I really bid? I've made really new friends and new bridge partners. And the amazing thing is that older people may have a shell that looks wrinkled and not very appealing, but the experience and the wisdom that they have, if you get to know them, is pretty amazing. One lady I saw, she had a nurse's bag. It said, "Nurse from NYU." And I asked her where she was a nurse. She said, "Well, I was the nurse and had my own office at the Metropolitan Opera for 9 years." And I said, "Well, did you go to many operas at night?" "Oh, yes." But she said, "I was never on duty. They only have doctors at night." But she said, during the day, there's so many workmen that I have to call the ambulance maybe 2 or 3 times a day to cover the number of people I'm servicing. I mean, who would know that a nurse that you're helping to play bridge would have had such a rich life and was an authority on opera? There are many of those. And you all have them around you at on these tables. So I live a rich life, and I live a life with many more friends, not many my own age, particularly so hair and a red convertible. Anyway. So now to sum it all up, it seems at Health Advocates that I'm responsible for those weekly bridge classes. I enjoy hosting our fundraiser, Jazz on the Terrace. It's really like a little wedding because everybody has little white tables and white chairs to sit at. It's quite lovely. I'm learning about the corporate governance as a member of the board at Health Advocates. I too have had the professional staff come and tell me how to make my house safe, my apartment safer, with less wires around, less small rugs, more supports and you hold on to in the bathroom or near the toilet. And I've gained a sense of healthy inclusion, which Health Advocates really gives you. You feel you belong to a new club, and it's a fun one, I must say. As I read this, I want to go on to say, I am grateful for the opportunities and friends I've made, and each day it's an adventure. That's a word I learned from my dear friend, Kathy Wangle. Would you stand up? Kathy's family has had a lady-owned hardware store for more than 100 years. And it was her great-grandmother that started it on 3rd Avenue. So she's very special. And she's the one who said that every day is an adventure. And that she takes people on adventures. And she takes my daughter along with her on these adventures. As Mark Twain said, wrinkles can indicate where the smile have been. Wrinkles can indicate where the smiles have been. Best of all, being involved evolves into amazing new friendships and keeps broadening my horizon. So I close with great gratitude and great humility to the blessings that I've had traveling and studying in Europe, and most of all, for Nancy Houghton, who is one of the most remarkable administrators with a heart so big, I don't think she has ever raised her voice. I don't think she's ever been critical of anybody. She sees the other side of any argument and is very tolerant and most of all, gracious, and works 7 days a week, often in the evenings, to make this event and all the various programs work so efficiently and find new leadership. And let's give a hand for Nancy.